Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Case file number 1646, written by ComaNPC. From Seargent to Glitch Detective. I used to be in the army. One day, about 6 years ago, 4 of my soldiers and I was a sergeant at the time, were working on our vehicle maintenance on a motor pool Monday. I had been with this organization for almost 2 years, and the process for turning in our maintenance paperwork had always been the same. The process was, inspect the vehicles, annotate any faults in the paperwork, 5988, bring it to the mechanics to verify any faults. Once verified, bring it to the company XO. After I passed out the maintenance paperwork for that week to my soldiers, they went out and tried to complete the task. However, they came back to me a little while later to let me know that the mechanics were refusing to verify the paperwork, and said that we were supposed to bring it to the XO first, and then it would go to them. This irritated me, because I knew the process and that was wrong. I figured it was just a new mechanic giving out bad information. So I went and talked to the maintenance chief warrant officer. When I told him the process we were trying to do, his exact words were, "We have never done it like that, Sergeant." At this point, I feel like I'm being pranked, so I call my platoon sergeant. He tells me that I'm wrong, and it has never been done the way I remember. Well, it wasn't just me that remembered it that way. All 4 of my soldiers were just as confused as myself. We asked our buddies from other platoons, other mechanics, and other sergeants, and everyone told us we were wrong. Wanting to just be done with it for the day, we all complied with the process. A week goes by, and Motor Pool Monday comes back around. My soldiers and I do the process we did the week prior. I go to bring the paperwork to the XO before the mechanics, and he looks at me and says, "What are you doing, Sergeant? These have to be verified by the mechanics first before you bring them to me." I laughed and asked if he was joking, but he was not. So I went back to Motor Pool and asked the maintenance chief, who affirmed the process that I knew was right from the beginning. I went back to my office and told my soldiers, who were all just as confused as I was. Everyone had gone back to the original way, and no one had any memory of the other process, other than my 4 soldiers and myself. We could not think of any good explanation for what happened, other than a really weird shared glitch. The process never changed again. It remained the same for the next 1.5 years I was with that organization. To this day, I randomly think about this, and it drives me crazy not knowing what happened there. I have a second channel where I react to shows I've never seen before. If that interests you, go and check it out. Link is in the description. Now onto the notes. Case note for file 1646, from Seargent to Glitch Detective. So yeah, this is a shared glitch indeed, and I love these because it's harder to place. For instance, could it be multiverse sight? Well, this is a full transition for hours between universes if that did happen. How does that work though, for so many people? Did you just intersect altogether a space-time portal that transitioned you to a new universe and then somehow intersected another one to come back hours later? That is so unlikely. It doesn't seem right to me. And could it be quantum immortality? Maybe. But then how did you get back to the originating universe? Honestly, I'm kind of stumped on this one. I don't know how you can transition universes outside of quantum immortality in a full transition, not just sight or sound for a couple seconds or a minute. That does happen relatively frequently. But for 5 people to transition back and forth fully? I don't know. That is very, very uncommon. The other possibility is everyone was in on it and it was a prank, but that seems also very unlikely. Maybe that is more rational, but I don't know. How do you transfer universes back and forth like that? One of those times where I'm just stumped. Case file number 1647, written by TinpotRadioShow, The Park of Geometric Glitches. I have an 18-month-old baby girl, and part of our routine is every Monday, we walk from our flat to a park and back, via a different route through another park, because she likes to look at the cherry blossoms. We've done this every single Monday for around 13 months now. I never changed the route, and it's roughly the same time every week. We took off, got to the first park, and all was okay. But for some strange reason, I felt like I was in a panic. My heart rate was high. I felt a bit anxious. I didn't really want to stay, but my daughter was having a good time. Eventually, I worked out that there was no one else in the park, just us. And it's usually quite full, so I thought that must be it. We started our walk home, where we changed the route to walk through the second park, which has the cherry blossoms. I know this route like the back of my hand. Crossed at a set of lights and then the first right and up the hill to the park. Not a complicated route. I was walking with my head down and suddenly realized I had no idea where I am. I've never seen this road before. I've lived in the city for 16 years. It felt completely off. No cars, no leaves. Every road here is covered in them and conquers. No wind. It was deadly silent. I went to stop and walk back the way I came, presuming somehow I've managed to screw up the route. Suddenly, a car drives past with a woman in a brown jacket and hat, and a pair of black sunglasses. I think, well, I'll just keep going, end up at the park somehow. Then another red car, same woman with the same jacket, hat and glasses, but car slightly different. I think that's a bit bizarre. Then it happens again. A red car, woman in a brown jacket with a hat and glasses. I pick up the pace and go down a different street, but something felt really bad about going that way. So I kept going straight, and about 20 minutes of walking, I got to the end, and I'm on the road that takes me to the park I was aiming at. But suddenly all noises, leaves, and cars are back. I get to the park and check my phone, and it's 2 p.m. I left the first park at 10:45 a.m. It takes 25 minutes to get from that park to the second one. I couldn't have been walking more than 20 minutes down that street. The following day, I woke up early for work, and I couldn't stop thinking about that road. So I left earlier in my car, and I couldn't find it anywhere. I tried 2 different ways, where I entered and where I exited. And the other routes I ended up on were not that road I walked down. I just can't work it out. I couldn't sleep for 2 days thinking about it. And now I can't stop seeing the face of the woman in the brown jacket. But I don't remember ever actually acknowledging what she looked like at the time. Case note for file 1647. The Park of Geometric Glitches. So here we go back to dead pocket theory, where in the transition period in quantum immortality, your soul doesn't instantly travel to the new universe, at least maybe not if they're far away. Sometimes there are stories like this where people are in kind of a limbo state in a world that has no life, and no one else around seemingly. Besides these weird apparitions of people, things that look like people, like in a forest blending in, or in this case, a strange woman driving a car with shades and a brown coat on. It's almost like that's a manifestation of your own perception of this entity that is looking out for you during the transition process. And how the park seemed to be incoherent with how you were walking through space-time, well, I think it's just curved geometry. It makes more sense like this. Why would you render an entire planet for this limbo dead pocket world for someone in transition? That would be so much wasted space. Why not just a small little slice and then curve geometry around it so they never really notice the boundaries? Even though it doesn't make sense when they reach the new universe, it doesn't really matter. And honestly, I don't think we're supposed to be aware of that dead pocket when we go there. I think for some reason, some minds are just aware of it. Now time for the joke of the day. 2 cows are grazing in a field. One cow says to the other, "You ever worry about mad cow disease?" The other cow says, "Why would I care? I'm a helicopter." Oh no, he's already infected. Run! Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.